why you haven't given up. You might be thinking, how do I know that? How am I addressing you personally when I don't know you? And yeah, I don't know you. You don't know me. But I know each and every person that's watching this video hasn't given up in some sort of way. And you might be thinking, like, how do I know that? And that is purely because you've clicked on a video like this and you're still doing stuff. You're still here. And I wanted to make this video today talking about a bit about my life and giving a bit of a story, because I felt like this new age of content that's came out, a lot of people are a lot younger who make it, and they're not my age, who've gone through different experiences, and I thought a few older people could relate. So who I am, I'm Icy, I'm nearly 24, I'm a failed content creator, failed at uni, failed at jobs, and I thought it'd be a good chance to talking about how I haven't given up and how that would apply to you as well. And and I've already briefly said what I've gone through and why I haven't failed. But basically, I'm a failed content creator. I've done this since I was like 12 with a crummy laptop. Not much has changed apart from I've got a PC now. It's a little better. And it's more than 10 years now. That's crazy to think about. But I'm just going to go through all of this, and the stuff that's playing in the background, that's just a Minecraft server, and the IP will be on screen. It's like an Anarchy server, but it hasn't got hacks. And people just make stuff, and it's like been around since 2020. And I thought it'd be an interesting thing to just record and show in the background, so people can follow my journey and leave signs at the end point if they're interested, or they can grief it. That's the beautiful thing with Anarchy. I don't know what you guys are going to do, God knows. But let me get onto the video, and I'm hoping no one is going through wanting to give up, but most likely if you've clicked on this video, you're feeling mentally like you're at your end point and you just want to give up at everything. You don't have the energy to do anything, and I'm telling you, you definitely do, because you've clicked on something like this. You're sitting through watching this already, and with how many minutes are we in? 4 minutes, and I haven't got even through to the story yet. Like, most of these content creators are at a different stage in life who are making these sort of videos, and I thought I should make this about, I don't know, people my generation, like we're almost millennials, or we're almost Gen Z or whatever. We're just like in this weird middle ground where we're nothing and we're just like bouncing through life, and we haven't. So a lot of people my age haven't achieved anything, and I know there's people I used to go to school with, and they're still in these dead-end jobs and all sorts. And I wanted to make a video that people could relate to and talk about just failing in life. So I'm not going to go all the way to the start of my life, because it would take for fucking ever, but I'll talk about when I went to uni. I basically got a 2-2. I didn't try, and that was purely because when I first started, I thought, which is stupid, I thought I was better than a lot of people, because bear in mind, I've been doing content creation since a little kid. So when I was 13, unlike other 13-year-olds playing football, I was opening Cinema 4D, learning how to make intros, which is fucking weird looking back. And looking back, there was loads of other people even better than me, like Simon 2010. And that was insane, the sort of intros he was making. Like, really insane. And yeah, so when I went to uni, I already knew about Photoshop, because I was about 18, and I was already done all this stuff. And I'll be honest, I haven't progressed far from when I was about 17 in software usage, because I used Premiere Pro and all that stuff. But I thought it'd be, I just left all my coursework to like the last week, and it was a 3-month project, and I'd still pass it, because a 2-2 is a pass, but it's basically a fail in the UK. It's really shit. And after that, failing in my uni life, I was still at my part-time job, because it was close to my uni, so I just drove to uni instead of living at accommodation. And I basically rushed into any job I could find, and I found this. This is going to lead to about giving up, because even when I was at uni, I wanted to give up so much, because I was drinking by myself. I was doing nothing. I think I was pretty much playing a server like this, probably walking down these same blocks, drinking by myself, because I felt like a failure. But even looking back, I was doing something. So even though I thought I gave up, I was still moving. somehow. I was moving my hand, I was moving my keyboard, I was doing something, I was creating something as well, which is, I think, something amazing about Minecraft. You can just create anything you want. And I mean that with code as well. You can literally, it's the most creative thing ever. Like, you look at YouTube gaming has just purely, I know there is other examples of other channels and other games, but this is the behemoth, and it's amazing what people have created with it and done in so many different ways. And so I wanted to all about giving up, and that you haven't given up. So because I went to uni, and even after failing, I didn't give up. I still carried on. I looked for jobs, and I probably did the worst thing ever. I rushed into any job I could find. And my number one piece of advice for anyone younger than me who's just coming out of uni, or they're just starting to look for jobs, don't settle for the quickest job offer you get. Do some research about the job before you actually sign up to it, because the job I went for was I went for a few job interviews, and this one I got an offer from, and it was a IT repair place, and they did servers and stuff like that. And it was the one second, let me get some water. It was the worst thing I had ever done, because just it was so toxic and crazy, the stuff that happened. And I basically got bullied for the whole year I was there. And the problem was, you can't really give up your job within the first 6 months, because a lot of jobs you go to, next one you go to, they can see you haven't been at your last job for very long, and they can ask questions about it, and it can be fucking awful, basically. And it makes the situation really tough. So I wanted to give up from the start, and I'll basically run you down why I didn't. And even though I hated my life and I wanted to disappear at this point, I still carried on. And I'm just going to give you a few examples of some stuff that happened there. So within the first couple months I was there, I went to the toilet and left my car keys on the table, thinking, because that's pretty normal, because everyone has a separate desk. I went for a shit. I probably went for too long. Managers probably didn't like it. They took my car keys, moved my car to somewhere else, put my car keys back on my desk, and then said my car was stolen, which is fucking insane. Like, I didn't know these people that well at that point, and they recorded it as well. They all came out and recorded, and they eventually told me like a minute or two later, but I was in like complete shock. And to think how fucked you have to be to do something like that is crazy. And at that point, I should have just gone straight to HR and just left, because I was well within my rights. I could have even made a work tribunal about that, but I never did. And I think this is definitely not going to be a wise story about what to do and what not to do, but you learn from your mistakes. And I wanted to basically talk through my experiences to hopefully they benefit someone else who's maybe going through something similar. And after that, it just got worse. Things that happened. I got bullied for how I looked, for how I am, being anxious, being tired. They blamed it on all sorts of things. And the reason they bullied me for how I look, genetically, I just look a bit odd. And it's not my fault. I look after myself. I shower, I bathe. Unlike a lot of them, bro, some of them fucking stunk and they did not brush their teeth. And looking back, these people were telling me, making fun of me, when, I'll be honest, a lot of these people, there's a reason they work in IT, and they haven't had many friends. It's because some of them are just fucking dicks. And what happened was, they used to make fun of all these things. And there's another thing that really stuck in my head, and it was the boss's brother. He works in the IT department, and he said this thing right at the end of the day to me, and he was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he was laughing with other people. There was loads of them crowded around for some reason, and they were saying, "Has anyone actually said they loved you?" And that still sticks to me today mentally. And I shouldn't let this get to me, because this guy looks like a fucking Discord mod. He's like in his late 40s with kids that are like 3, that are like, he decided to have way too old, and he has literally no future. He's got arthritis, and he has like no fucking aims, and they all make fun of him as well. That's the thing that I really hated there, that everyone bitched about each other. They all made fun of each other, like behind their backs. Like, it was really fucking bitchy, horrible place. But at that time, I just realised, holy shit, I thought I was a failure. I thought, what the fuck is wrong with me? God, why was I born like this? And looking back, that was definitely the wrong thing to do. And I'd always come home crying into my bed, and on the weekends I'd sleep until 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I would do nothing all day. But looking back, even then, I hadn't given up. And this is to people who may be in a similar position and think they've given up because they're not doing anything all day. You're still existing. You're still fucking here. To anyone that thinks they're about to give up, like, just leave a comment. Just fucking say something. Like, you're not there. And there's some reason that life's pulling you. And I'm slightly religious. You might not be. But there's some sort of reason you're here. And there's some sort of reason why you haven't wanted to go yet. And I was so close at one point. I wanted to grab my passport and disappear. At one point, I was literally had it in my hand. I was about to go with the keys at like 2 a.m. And for some reason, I just didn't. And I just thought, these people are dictating my life. And I just thought in my head with how fucked everything was, because they used to bully me every day. I just thought, I'm not going to put up with this any longer. And eventually I started answering back. And it helped me a bit. But I remember one time I answered back, and this guy who worked there, just because I interrupted, I have dog shit social cues. It's not intentional. I'm just really bad at talking to people. And I accidentally interrupted, and this kid just went off on me. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Why are you going on at me? And what happened was he basically physically threatened me. And I nearly saw red, but that's when I realised, that's when the clicking point, the thing that clicked to my head was, it's okay to give up in certain ways. Because I thought I was giving up in life if I didn't do this. I was going to fail in life, because that's what that job basically gaslighted me to think. Because I remember when I left, there were people, oh, you're making such a big mistake. This is such a good job opportunity. If it's such a good opportunity, why is like half the people left? Like in the time that I've been there, like maybe not half, but the turnover is insane. Every time I go on Indeed, people are leaving that job. And I started to realize, you want to surround yourself by people with positive energy, and do not listen to people at work. 99% of the time, they're looking out for the company and looking out for themselves. Think for yourself. Don't let these dickheads dictate what you're thinking. But yeah, after that, I handed my notice in literally the next day. I wrote it out, and I went to HR, and because you have to have a little exit interview with them. I told them what happened. Because this is the most dumb thing about this company, was they had it separate from the actual warehouse. All the drama that was happening, they had a separate office for the salespeople in the warehouse and all that shit. And they didn't come across this sort of stuff that was happening every day. And when I said all this crazy stuff that was happening, like I've just said now, and this was only a couple of examples I said tons. I didn't give the names of everyone, only the person who recently physically threatened me, because I was still mentally scared. Like still now to this day, I'm scared, because there's so many other things. Like they knew where I lived. They just said so much fucked up shit, and it still scares me to this day. And that's why I'm struggling to make a video talking about it. And I talk really quick, and I can't pace myself like I used to. But they were shocked, the HR, and it wasn't, HR are never looking out for the company. No, they're always looking out for the company. They're never looking out for you. HR are never looking out for you. I just want to make that really clear. And they were more shocked, because what could happen is I could have gone to a work tribunal about it, and I could have settled probably out of court for a bit of money. But in the long term, I thought it wouldn't be worth it. Maybe sometimes I do think I should have, but I don't know. This isn't... I still don't know the perfect idea of what I should have done, and I still don't know. And I'm probably not the best for life advice, but I'm talking through my experiences to hopefully benefit someone else that's maybe going through that stage in life, that thinks they want to give up because they're surrounded by these horrible people, and they think that that's all they can do. And seriously, don't do that. And I left, and I remember when I was leaving, they're saying, you're making the biggest mistake and all that. And what happened was I started getting better, and now I've made my first video in a year. Like I made, I think, 1 or 2, but I was like covering up. I was acting on a personality basically, and this is the first time I've acted fully genuine. And I thought it'd be important to talk about giving up, because I think a lot of young men in their 20s go through this stage in life where they think they're a failure because they're not doing as good as the latest gurus on the internet, or what anyone else is achieving, or their friends or their family or First off, delete social media. I'm being 100% honest. If you think, unless you've got like 1 or 2 close friends, add them on WhatsApp and just fucking delete Instagram. It's not worth it. It's not worth looking at other people, because they're bullshitting about their life as well. They aren't living this dream life. And a lot of the time you can read in between the lines, but a lot of people my age, mental health just so big for people my age, men in their like 20s, and I think people don't realise, like, it's the biggest killer for men. I wanted to make this video basically saying, you're not the problem. You haven't given up, even though you might have thought that you have. And being in a toxic situation, I gave an example of something that happened to me that was quite toxic. And what happened was, I left, and I'm in a better situation now. I may be working in some crummy store, but I'm working on my skills. I could eventually go back into working into IT now. But the overall conclusion of this video, because I've rambled on for ages and I've just not really come to any obvious sort of thing. And the overall conclusion of this video is, don't fucking give up. And I know I've repeated myself so much, but never think or let people bring you down thinking that you're not good enough, because you 100% are. And you might think that you aren't because somebody said this or somebody's done this, but don't let other people that don't know you well dictate your life. And even if they think they know you well, they don't. They don't know you're watching this video. They don't know your hobbies. A lot of them won't know anything about you. But you let these people rule your life, and you shouldn't. And that's, I think, a good end to this sort of story. But like me, you might be going through something, but it will pass. And I think that's the message I was trying to say. I know this wasn't a really well done video, and I'm going to thank anyone who's still watching to the end, because it was terribly executed. But thank you for watching, and I'm hopefully going to be uploading, I don't know, like once a week on a Friday or something like that. But thank you, and have a good night.